Welcome into the Sources Say podcast, your go-to Kentucky basketball podcast on the KSR Podcast Network, presented by our good friends at, that looks like, no, it was Iowa State fans over there?
Yeah,
You see?
yeah, it looks like it.
I don't know. Either way, it's crazy.
Cyclones.
It's madness. It's hectic. It's crazy. But we are here, presented by Club Blue. Club Blue is the official collective partner of the University of Kentucky. Obviously, my mind is in a million places because it's a stressful day, Stephen. We got kind of the carefree, kick our legs up and just enjoy day one of March Madness. But now reality is here that we now have to win the game. Kentucky's set to take on 14 seed Troy. How are you feeling? Like, we're here in Milwaukee, we're enjoying the city, got to, see some cool pubs and different drinking establishments, food establishments, but now, it's go time. How are you feeling?
I'm way more nervous than I should be. I talked to you about this yesterday. During the 2020, leading up to that St. Peter's game, I just was like, they're playing a 15 seed, they'll win. We got to get out of this mindset. By the end of this, I want to be completely confident. By the end of this show, I want to be 100% confident Kentucky's going to win. That's how we used to approach these first-round games. No nerves. We're going to take care of business, and the tournament really starts for us on Sunday. And I did check with Corey Price.
Okay.
The last time that Kentucky lost on Friday at the NCAA Tournament was against Maryland in 2002. So we're pretty good.
Stat.
We're pretty good on Fridays.
We're two decades plus removed from that. So we just have to, not let that glaring number of potentially 3 first-round exits in 4 years just haunt over, like just this dark cloud hanging over us. Because look, it's beautiful outside. It's sun is shining, the birds are chirping. I mean, it's cold, really, really cold. That's an early takeaway from Milwaukee. But Besides that, we had a really good time talking to the Troy team. We, talked to the Kentucky Wildcats in the locker room, got some big updates on, Kirk Risa, Travis Perry. It was good. It just vibes very good. Got the open practice, there's this weird feeling that I had leaving last year's locker room, Stephen. We talked to Jack Gulke, and we left that room going, man, he was just weirdly confident. There is just something about that kid that, like, he's just calling a shot, saying, like, hey, you guys don't know my name right now, but by the end of the night, you're going to know that I'm going to be a March Madness legend. We're like, who is this?
Sure.
Who is this kid? Like, you'll be doing taxes in a year. Like, just go on somewhere. And then, to his credit, he becomes a March Madness legend and basically the start of the end of the John Calipari era. So I feel like leaving yesterday's locker room against Troy had me feeling a little bit better that, they had just this, hey, we're just grateful to be here. We're obviously we're coming in looking to win. We're not just showing up for a participation trophy, but there wasn't the glaring like, whoa, they really think they're going to walk in here in this building and beat Kentucky. That has me feeling my nerves settled ever so slightly.
They didn't have the same kind of swagger and it wasn't just Gulke. Like he was the one that stood out, and it was weird that he is the guy that scored 30 because we left that going. You remember we finished the interview, and Jack Gulke gets up, and his teammates are all, like, busting out laughing. He's like, hey, whatever, man. Like, we're here. Like, I'm just going to, I'm going to talk a little bit. It didn't quite have the same vibe. Doesn't mean I'm not nervous. We did talk to them about this basketball, and they've been using it all year. Isn't that great? So it's the official basketball of the NCAA Tournament, the Wilson Evo next. And, I'm not going to let this get into anybody's heads, but Troy did use it all year, so we'll see. FDU used it. I talked with Ansley Almanor. Ansley actually was the first player that I've talked to. Other reporters have talked to players. Kyle Tucker was going to do a story on it a couple years ago. Ansley said it is different. This ball is different. Jackson said they put so much air in it that it's like if you poke it with your finger, you can break your finger because it's that hard.
That makes you feel good.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Great job, NCAA. Let's keep that up. Kentucky's record with this ball in the postseason has not been good.
But this season is not terrible. Different inflation tactics with the NCAA tournament, but they've been okay with it this year, right?
They play the first time they used it was Ohio State. That game didn't go very well.
Correct.
They did use it at Mississippi State, shot really well, but that's like a worn-in ball, and that's what Ansley was saying. He was saying that it's not the ball. He likes the ball. It's just that here they put too much air in it. And I was actually watching something on Barstool where they talked to a representative from Wilson, and I guess Wilson's kind of like deflecting blame maybe. Because I'll be honest, I like the ball too, but what he said was that they're putting way too much air in it. Like it's got a soft cushion here, so it doesn't feel like there's enough air in it, and they don't have a set PSI. It's 2025, right? I almost forgot what year it was, but it is 2025. Don't we have like things that can tell you exactly how much PSI? They're still using like the bounce test to figure out if the ball needs more air or not. So there was a play in the St. Peter's game a couple years ago where Severe Wheeler dribbled it once and it just popped right up, 4 feet over his head.
So it's like 6 feet tall.
Yeah, so it was like a 5-foot bounce, and then Kentucky turned the ball over. So is that the reason they lost? No, but it's like the same thing I say about referees. Is it it's not the reason, but it is a reason. It's like the stupid. I'm gonna stop. This is why I'm doing this right now, so I can not talk about it the rest of the show.
Good, yeah. Knock it out early.
It's the dumbest, most easily fixable problem in sports. It's just like, just make this the official ball, and let's don't put enough air into it to where it bounces and hits the ceiling. So there you go. I'm not going to talk any more about this basketball. In fact, I'm going to put it away, and I'm not going to think about it because Kentucky's winning, and I'm not even going to have to worry about that whole deal. Purdue fans were, Matt Painter was really big on that ball. Well, then he goes to the national championship last year, and he's kind of been quiet about it. So we'll get our big March run, and then we don't have to worry about basketballs anymore.
That is very true. So Kentucky, as we woke up this morning, 11.5-point favorite, among the worst of the 3-14 seed, opening lines, but a comfortable double-digit, line where, Troy is a good basketball team. They won the Sun Belt. Kentucky's played a couple Sun Belt teams this year. Know that, they're going to pose a challenge. But Kentucky's talent should be enough to overcome anything that Troy is able to put on the floor. There's a lot of talk yesterday about minutes continuity. When you ask the Troy players, what is, when you go into this game, what are your eyes on? What is here is the key to us winning the game. And a couple players brought up that, the Troy coaching staff brought up that Kentucky is a bottom 10 team nationally in minutes continuity, both overall in terms of returning talent, but also in terms of what, game by game, week by week, with one player in, 3 others out, 3 others in, 1 new player out, this guy out for the year, this guy, what's his status? We don't know. They have, they are returning 12 players and have basically kept the same rotation, the same lineup all season long. And they're saying, we're going to trust our chemistry and continuity versus their talent. That's how they're approaching this and saying, here's how we, how we pull off the upsets.
That is, I'm glad you brought that quote up because that was one of the things that you were doing that interview, I'm behind the camera and I'm like, man, that does matter. Mm-hmm. It does. And Kentucky has just really, you have the schedule pulled up, really since December, have been kind of going with different lineups. And it is kind of, it's been a problem with Kentucky basketball for the last 4 or 5 years. But even with the new regime taking over, it's another problem this year with guys getting injured and having to rotate guys. I mean, if you just had, let's say, just Jackson. Kerr, we haven't seen him all year. But Jackson, I think I look at the draw, I'm like, this team could easily go to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. Without him, things get a little more difficult, and one of those things is the continuity and not, playing with the same guys on the floor. And do you think that this is now where, you're not trying to play 4 games in 4 days, you're not worried about longevity, you just have a few more weeks of the season where you might see guys maybe extend their minutes a little bit more to keep that continuity on the floor?
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of just you throw the kitchen sink at them. If Amari is rolling, you play to win this game, not 3 games from now. Your one job is to survive in advance and win with the guys you have. And then if, something happens, there's an injury, foul trouble, or whatever, it's next man up. And then next game, it's a total hard reset with what you got. If there's an injury setback, whatever, you have to play to win the game that you're playing right then. And then, reevaluate after the fact. And if it takes 35 Amari Williams minutes or 40 Kobe Brea minutes or 20 Kobe Brea threes or Amari Williams dunking it down and just letting him take the game over, like, you just gotta play to your specific, your specific strengths against their specific weaknesses to do whatever it takes to pull off the win. So yeah, I do think that's possible.
Because I think there's maybe it's not tonight. Hopefully it's not tonight. Hopefully Kentucky can create enough separation that this won't be an issue. But I think like there were times even in the SEC tournament where, like, you got to get Amari Williams back into this game. Like, he cannot be sitting out 10 minutes a half or whatever, not 10 minutes a half, but he cannot be sitting out for an extended period of time. And I know, you don't want to wear somebody out, and especially when we're thinking back to last week when you back-to-back days of games. It's not the case now, and like you said, I mean, it could be your last game. So what are you saving them for? So I think over these next 2 days, I would like to see, guys, can we play 34 minutes from our starters? Can we get 34 from all five? I mean, is that possible, or does that kind of fly in the face of the coaching staff's whole strategy, I guess?
You hope not. Like, you actually hope that you're not in a position where you say, Kobe, we need you for 40 minutes. Sorry,
not tonight, like, right? Yeah.
You want to be able to say Colin Chandler played 17 minutes tonight in a double-digit blowout win where you could just, because there is that balance of, yes, you play to win this game, and if you have to do whatever it takes to, stretch somebody too thin or whatever, you do it. But in an ideal world, you do say, hey, if we can comfortably win a game without the wear and tear of a, Lamont Butler playing 37 minutes, like, you take that hoping for the long-term success while ensuring you win the game that's being played right there. So there's a balance. It definitely is a toss-up. A couple names to keep a very close eye on: Tatum Connerway, Sunbelt, Player of the Year, as talented as they get, like, really, really, really good piece. Miles Rigsby averaging 12 points a game. Thomas Dowd shooting really, really well. We talked to him yesterday. Said that he was shooting 20% from the field, now up to 30. But he was like, but you also need to understand, like, to get my percentage up to 30, I had to have 45% shooting splits since then. So he's been on a shooting tear. Definitely a name to keep an eye on if you're looking for, like, the, not a punchable face, but like the if you're going down the list of the roster pieces that could be the Jack Golke or the
for
Eater
sure,
or whatever, the first name you look up is Thomas Dowd. That looks like somebody we could hate down the road.
That is so funny you said that. When I sent the clip of him talking about the basketball to some of my friends, and they were like, oh, that's the Doug Eater. That's the Jack Golke. That's the guy. If there is going to be a guy, it's going to be him.
I hope not. I really hope that that's not the case. I hope that he's just a good old, he was the one that said, hey, we're just appreciative of this opportunity. We're confident in our abilities. We like, the matchup, but we're just excited for this opportunity where you don't go like, okay, that's a Jack Golke. That guy is weirdly confident. He just feels living in the moment, and it makes me feel a lot more confident. But Thomas Dowd, that's definitely the name to keep an eye on. Mark Pope was asked, give your in-depth scouting report on Troy and the things that they do that could present legitimate problems for Kentucky tomorrow night. His quote was, Troy is a championship team. That's the greatness of the NCAA tournament. Everybody in here is a championship or championship caliber team. Troy, the numbers scream out at you, which everyone in BBN already knows the numbers. Troy's the number 7 steals team in the country. They're the number 6 offensive rebounding team in the country. To put it in perspective, in the SEC, the best conference in the country by a mile. The only team that we played that was more effective on the offensive glass in the entire league was Texas A&M, in a league that prides itself on being on the offensive glass. That's how potent this Troy team is. And then he obviously mentioned some of the individual standouts, obviously Connerway being the main one. So anything there that jumps out at you? I know Brandon Ramsey threw out the mid-major Texas A&M, which tough, physical, gonna kind of play a football brand of basketball, if you will. What kind of jumps out at you with those numbers?
Well, I think, first of all, I think the SEC is a pretty physical conference to begin with. So Kentucky's faced their fair share of those teams. Georgia is another one that plays physical. But I feel like Kentucky's been prepared for that kind of for that kind of style of play all year. So that doesn't worry me too much. I'm going to say that right now, and then they'll get 30 offensive rebounds. But I trust that Amari Williams. I just don't think they have anybody that can match his size. Brandon Garrison. He should be able to hold his own in this game. So that just doesn't strike me as too much of a worry. What would worry me is if we played somebody who really shot the lights out. Like that would worry me because our defense isn't all that great. Now who's to say that they can't go on and hit 15 threes tonight? But what do they shoot from three? It's somewhere south of 30%.
They shoot 29.9% from three on the year.
So that's why this matchup
39 nationally.
That's why this
Pretty bad.
matchup does make me feel like, okay, you got a mid-major. This should be the one that, because if Jack Golke doesn't hit 10 threes, Kentucky obviously wins that game. If he only hits 9 threes, they win that game. So I do think that while those numbers are impressive for a team playing in the Sun Belt, I feel pretty confident that Kentucky can hold their own on the glass with this team. And I look for Kentucky to be able to. Can we get out in transition? Can we get some easy buckets, get going, and not get into this where you could feel the tension in the building because it's gonna be there. I just hope we can get some easy baskets to start the game off, and turn this team over a little bit. I believe they turn the ball over at a pretty high rate. Is that right?
They have an offensive steal rate of 315 nationally, not good, and then they have a defensive steal rate of 13.7, which is 7th nationally. So incredible defensively.
Wow.
67 overall nationally with effective field goal percentage defensively, 47.2. It's 30th in the country. Hold opposing teams to 46.2% from two, which is 18th nationally. Very, very good. So there are definitely some pretty serious strong points there for Troy, while also acknowledging that, an offensive turnover rate of 19.9, 334th nationally. There are chances for Kentucky to expose them as well. It just depends on how the ball bounces and how the swings. You want to capitalize on their mistakes while also making sure that they don't capitalize on yours. It's going to be a tough balance there, but that's why I just think the talent is just that's going to be the very clear and obvious difference.
Yeah, and I need them to let's just jump out early, kind of like you did in Nashville. Get up 8-0, get them in a quick timeout. Get the Kentucky fans into it, feeling confident, getting go big blue chance, because if this thing is tight. If I look up at that scoreboard and there's under 4 minutes to go in the first half and it's a close game, you're just going to feel it in the building and that tension. I felt it in the Oakland game. I remember I took a photo. God, I feel like I'm going to talk about this game a lot. Let's just win this game so I don't have to talk about Oakland or St. Peter's or any of those teams anymore. But I remember I took a photo of the scoreboard to put on Twitter, and it was like, come on, Cats, you have 8 minutes to save yourselves. In that moment, I'm panicking. I'm thinking, there's just no, I don't think they can do it. I don't think, and they didn't, but it was I think I looked at that picture recently. It was a 5-point game when I took that photo with 8 minutes to go, and I'm just, they're gonna lose. So that because you could feel the tension in the building. That is it's happening again. Well, let's just don't get to that point. Let's don't even just be up 5. Let's be up under 8 to go in the game. Let's have a 15, 20-point lead where we can all just sit back and relax, and you can have your game recap already ready to roll out. And,
there's nothing better than that.
And let's just don't stress about it. We shouldn't. This is what Cal has done to us. I'm panicking over a first round game with Troy. What are we doing?
A first round game against Troy where a lot of the conversation was about Waffle House. I
love those quotes. That was great.
No, it's amazing, but you want that to be the fun, interesting, hey, this team stinks, so we gotta come up with different storylines. That's not the case here because Troy is a good basketball team.
Don't let Waffle House be a story, because if they win, it's a huge story.
Yeah, it's Troy puts on the All-Star special on Kentucky en route to yet another first-round exit. We don't need any of that nonsense. So I do want to talk about Waffle House. There's one player that said that they've been cutting down on it and only eating 3 times.
Was it Marcus Rigsby?
Yes. At this point, 3 times a week, they all gave their orders, lots of all-star specials. But I thought that was a really interesting dynamic. Thomas Dowd said that the simplest way to describe it is they don't want anybody on their team that thinks that they're too good for Waffle House. That was probably the best way to describe it. And what does that mean to you?
It's blue collar. You're going to pass up Waffle House at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. for that matter? I mean, they're going 5 times a week. That's if they don't have a Waffle House NIL deal at the end of this, I mean, that's a huge miss from both parties.
We heard some speculation and scuttlebutt that like this week in particular, when Waffle House became such a national story, that Waffle House did reach out to Troy and was like, hey, let's set something up. Like I feel like that should have been done immediately. Like I feel like they should have just put together some type of quick NIL deal for to promote themselves for March Madness. Like I feel like once we get to this off season, it's like, that was a March Madness storyline, not a national, unless it becomes one.
That
is the scary part. But
it would feel like destiny, Waffle House destiny to for them to win. And then
what's your go-to Waffle House?
It's the All-Star Special.
Is it?
Yep. It's the you get the waffle and then he said Marcus said scrambled eggs. I kind of go back and forth on that. I like the over medium.
Over medium is perfect. It's you like a little bit of run. You don't want it to just eat like you're eating a hard-boiled egg. You don't want to feel that, but you don't want it to just be yolking on you everywhere.
I think the last time I had Waffle House, was when we were coming back from the Missouri game 2 years ago.
What happened in that game?
They lost.
By a lot,
yeah. So that's kind of the thing. Now, every time I pass Waffle House, I'm thinking about Dennis Gates. And
it's kind of a weird connection.
I know. It is. But that's what I think about. Also, I mean, I love the Waffle House because it's like when you go into one. I love there's entertainment where it's not even it's not intentional. It's just you know what I mean, The 3 a.m. Waffle House. I mean, it was the guy was talking to us. He was really interested in what we were doing, and it was entertainment for me. That's
it was like something clicked when you brought up Waffle House. They're like, oh, thank God somebody asked me finally. I did like the, just that they really do enjoy their Waffle House. It's cool.
Yeah, and if they weren't playing Kentucky, it's a team I probably would pull for. Honestly, I liked all the guys in the locker room. I'm gonna hate them tonight, but. Hopefully there's no more Troy basketball games. Otherwise, that was what was weird about Oakland too. All of those players that we talked to, they were all pretty cool, and then they went. I had to go into their locker room after that game. I don't want to be doing that this time. I don't want to go into a jubilant. I remember one of my the memories I'm going to take from working at KSR is going to be the Oakland administration, the staff. At the end of that game and what that meant to them beating Kentucky. And I think that's something that you don't understand. I don't even know if the Kentucky players last year really understood it. You can't really, maybe Reed did, but that target, because it's the winningest program of all time. It is, and I think they mentioned it, it's the mecca of college basketball. It is the brand. There are so many college football programs that have so much pride and tradition. There aren't that many basketball programs. So you're a huge target. These guys, when you can see, when you asked them about what do you think about when you saw your name on Selection Sunday, they were so excited. Why? Because, they know they're going to be a lower seed. We might have to play Texas Tech. If you beat Texas Tech, that's awesome. If you beat Kentucky, that's legendary. So that's kind of the target that's on your back.
They call it the pinnacle of college basketball.
Yes. Yeah, and that's true. And that's why there's a little bit of nerves. Here's the thing. I'm already just getting over the negative. Kentucky's come on. Dude, how crazy is it that I feel I can't make myself say they're going to win. They're going to win this game. They are. This is not. We're not going through that again.
We're only going to have smiles on our faces, partly because Kentucky's going to win, but partly as well because I'm smiling extra today because of the madness officially kicking off at Georgetown Periodontics and Implant Dentistry. Your smile is their number one priority. They're committed to providing you with the comprehensive periodontal and implant care that you need to improve your oral health and function. Their office offers a safe and relaxing environment to ensure patients receive personalized treatment. Give them a call at 502-570-5700 or learn more at www.georgetownkyimplant.com. I believe we have a friend of the program that we want to bring on.
Yeah, of course.
Whenever Keith is ready, we'll let him.
You want to take over?
Keith Farmer, the man.
Oh,
We're we're rolling, baby. We're rolling. Get comfortable, get pretty. You know,
Well,
you two.
That's the problem. I have not.
You TV people are way too pretty.
I don't right now.
Yeah. Keith, we're here in Milwaukee. We're having a good time. How are you feeling ahead of day one of March Madness for Mark Pope and the Kentucky Wildcats?
I actually feel pretty good about him. I mean, again, would I like him to be healthier? Yes. Would I like to know exactly how Lamont Butler is going to feel and if he's going to go not the entire 40 minutes, but the entire game? I'd love to know that. But looking at Troy and seeing everything that I've seen on the court in the locker room, I don't think this is. I still got just a tweet a moment ago. I'm so nervous about this game.
Yeah.
Everybody is, right? But I think you can rest easy on this one. I feel pretty confident about this one that they'll get this win.
What was your reaction leaving the Kentucky locker room, the vibe around the players and maybe the assistants and whoever was kind of mingling around there, and then leaving the Troy locker room and just kind of the vibe where we were leaving the Oakland locker room last year and kind of the feeling we had of versus what we felt yesterday?
All right, well, let me fill you in on this first because this is the TV side of things. Since
Okay.
we have to get video, Troy was practicing at the same time as Kentucky was in the locker room. So I wasn't able to go into the locker room with Kentucky. So I can't tell you how it felt, but from everything I heard from Maggie, it was like, everybody's pretty relaxed, pretty confident. They know, I mean, how many of those guys have been on the other side of this thing, and they know how the underdog is feeling. So they're not going to let that happen. They've got Kentucky across the chest now. They know it's different. Going into the Troy locker room, which I did do, I thought it was kind of interesting. Let me back up. Let's go back to Oakland. We were in the Oakland locker room. Those guys were confident, and they were loose and relaxed. And as you pointed out before, Jack Golke was like, I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to launch a lot of threes, and I'm going to make a lot of threes. And so, you came out of there going, well, okay, maybe he's, but it's also an underdog. And then what did he do? He came out and he launched a lot of threes. He made a name for himself. So going into the Troy locker room, you've sensed some confidence, but it's not quite the same. These guys are happy to be here. And yes, they want to take down the big one. Yes, the coaches told them it's happened before, but I just still don't get the same feeling. They were really taken aback by all the UK media that was in the locker room. They were a little bit nervous talking, not quite the same confidence that we saw in the last 2-3 years.
Well, you were there for Kentucky's open practice. Just what was kind of the mood, the vibe, we got a family picture with Mark Pope and all the media. That was kind of cool. That was different, right?
Way different.
But just what you thought of, what the Cats look like on the court. Maggie Davis as well.
I think it was more of like, you can never learn anything out of these, right? I mean,
right.
It's
like a glorified shoot around.
Yeah, I mean, there are too many eyes in the building. They're not going to go game plan for Troy or anyone else. But, what I wanted to see and what I thought was comforting in seeing was Lamont Butler being out there and shooting and throwing up alley-oops, and looks like he's back to what he was at least before he left that game, against Alabama.
Have you seen a head coach shut down practice and say everybody needs to shut up and be dead silent for several minutes? Because I have never seen that before.
I would say yes, but it was an on-campus. It wasn't an open practice for an NCAA tournament game. Who does that? Like, you open practice, you got so many people in there, it's hard to tame, and then you've got music blaring, you've got people walking around talking here and there, and it's like to get them to be quiet and to threaten them with kicking them out. I've not seen that before. That was different, and that was cool. It was kind of a different vibe for the players probably to be able to sit there and, because it's going to be loud in the arena when they're playing and shooting free throws. So to be doing that, dead silence. Also, the quiet that he always talks about, of the moment, but then also just to kind of change it up. And instead of having so much noise, it was like, now you got to hit free throws with dead silence. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and like it kind of we know that it's not a serious practice. It's not like one that we would see, but it also adds a seriousness to it of like, hey, we take everything that we do very seriously.
Sure.
Like, it would have been very easy for him to just be like, hey, we have 100 UK fans in attendance. Let's just give them a little show. Let's do throw down some dunks and shoot from half court. Like, it could have been easy for them to be very silly. We've seen some of these open practices over the years be silly.
Yeah.
I think actually before the St. Peter's game, I think that one was a pretty silly one. I kind of said, Kentucky is all-time loose. Like, I can't, I couldn't imagine them playing tight. And then, they go and lose to St. Peter's.
Right.
So there is something to be said about how
true.
stern they were with it.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, it wasn't just out there joking around and just flipping up shots. I mean, they were taking every moment that they did serious. They were getting up shots from everywhere that they do. They were playing a little bit of defense here and there on some drills that they were doing. But yeah, no, I mean, look, Mark Pope, I even saw him at one point. I got a video of him, correcting Ortega on something, and then watching Ortega, go through the pick and roll and do exactly what he just said. So there was still coaching going on, even though it wasn't, X's and O's.
Yeah, absolutely. So give me the number one key for a Kentucky win to allow us to continue enjoying this great city of Milwaukee.
Number one, take care of the basketball. Something that we've seen them struggle with here recently. Got to take care of the basketball. No, and when I say that, they're going to have turnovers. Look, that's going to happen. It's basketball. You can't have the ones who are dribbling off your leg or passing to somebody who is cutting the other way, that kind of thing. Just the total unforced, don't make those kind of mistakes. And then I think the other thing, is this Troy team loves to crash the glass. And so I think more so on the defensive end, they've got to really, really box out, give them one opportunity to get a shot off and shut it down. They cannot let them get another chance. You start doing that with these underdog teams, and they get 2 and 3 chances. I mean, we saw like Omaha was hanging in with St. John's early. Now I know it broke open; it was a big lead, but early on, Omaha, and they had no size, was going in there and crashing the boards, and they were getting 2, 3, 4 chances at scoring. You cannot do that in this game. So I think that to me are the two things that Kentucky's going to have to do. I'm not worried about the shooting. They'll get up the shots, they'll make the shots. It's strictly keep them off the offensive boards, take care of the ball, prize it.
Oh, well, you make me feel a little bit better. I hope that we get to continue to celebrate. We've had a lot of fun together here in Milwaukee. Got a couple dinners, and we've had a good time. Hopefully that continues, and we get to enjoy another kind of stress-free Saturday.
Yeah.
But got to get there first. Got to pull off the win there. So, Keith, if you want to grab Maggie on your way out, that would be awesome. We can get her to pop over.
I'll find her.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Shout out Keith Farmer. We love our guy Keith Farmer. And while we wait for the one and only Maggie Davis, it is the best time of year and the best app to bet college basketball is Circa Sports Kentucky. It's sports betting the way it should be with high and transparent betting limits, the lowest holds, and exceptional customer service. It doesn't matter when they take the core, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports is the place to bet college basketball fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 18 or older. For Kentucky Problem Gambling Services, call or text 1-800-426-2537. You can also enjoy all the action on Friday with our friends at Circa Sports Kentucky. They will be live at Lex Live and banners starting at 11 a.m. on Friday, watching the tournament, giving out merch, enjoying food and drinks, and partying with the Kentucky basketball fans. Head to circasports.com to learn more. Maggie,
Good
what's
morning.
up? How are you, my friend?
I was motioned to come over here. Is it okay if I join Sources Say?
You are motioned.
I'm excited.
Consider you officially motioned. How are you? You are a friend of the program because you used to have a KSR logo on you. Then you decided to just go on and seek out bigger and better things, and now have left us in the dust. So
Yeah, honestly, we don't even talk anymore. So
Yeah.
No, I still love you guys. Come on, I'm an avid listener. Sources Say, how the heck are you?
Oh, yeah, that name drop. We did like that. So we're here in Milwaukee. It's been a fun couple of days. We hope it continues to be more fun couple of days. But
Yes.
what have been your early impressions of Milwaukee and just being around the team, being around Troy yesterday? I think Kentucky fans would love to hear you kind of calm their nerves going into a very important March Madness game.
Well, if you're nervous, I understand, because I think a lot of us feel that way after the way the last 2 to 3 years have gone, right? There's a little bit of like I don't want to get too excited because I don't want to be hurt again. We've all been there. We get it. But I don't think we're in store for that this year. And listen, it's not like I followed Troy basketball all year long, but past couple of days since Selection Sunday, looking at what they've done, looking at how they play, the players on the roster, I mean, they have that Tatum Conaway, I think, is going to give the Cats some trouble. He was the only one I felt like was swaggy, if you want to use that word, in the locker room yesterday. But it wasn't the same level of locker room energy than what we got last year from Oakland, don't you think?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but like there was just something about leaving that locker room where you're like, almost, Jack Golke was like, who does this guy think he is? Like talking, calling his shot, saying, you guys are going to know who I am. And, I hope that, because I said something like, hey, John Calipari, sang your praises a little bit. And, what does it feel to have a Hall of Fame coach, complimenting you the way he did? He said, yeah, it's all well and good. I'm happy for it. But I would rather him be singing my praises after the game, after I beat him. It's like, the audacity, like what gave you the right? So I did not get that vibe yesterday. There was a lot of, I was telling Stephen earlier, there was a lot of like, we're just grateful to be here. We're appreciative of the moment. Grateful that the Lord has put us in position to be at March Madness. You're like, that's a sweet sentiment, but not something that instills fear in me.
Well, even when they were specifically asked about Oakland and St. Peter's, and one of the guys even was like, yeah, our coach showed us some upsets. We talked about upsets that have happened here, so we know it's possible. And, those are some great moments. It wasn't like this energy of, and we're going to be the next one. And maybe they're trying to play it cool. Maybe that's the team's sort of personality, a little more low-key, a little more let the game speak for itself. And maybe we'll be wrong, but I didn't get the sense that these guys were like, we are the next team to upset Kentucky. It was much more like you said, grateful to be here, excited for the opportunity. I left the Oakland locker room last year with an existential amount of dread, to be honest. And I was like, we might be in trouble. We might be in trouble. I did not leave the Troy locker room like that yesterday.
That blue-collar approach is because they're Team Waffle House. We got a lot of Waffle House questions. What did you think of that?
Yes. I liked it because I love hearing what people like to eat for breakfast. I think it says a whole lot about them. And listen, what time is it? 11:45. I'm staying on Eastern time. I guess it's 10:45 here, so they're still serving breakfast. So I would like to get some breakfast here. Have you had breakfast here yet?
I just can't. I mean, $16 for
That's for the
a
buffet. You can get an omelet for $14. So why? No, not for free.
What have we been doing? Not eating. Yeah, I've been a little, we appreciate, the Cambria Hotel for hosting us, but, free breakfast is always appreciated, and we don't get that, so I don't appreciate that.
Well, that's true, but I did get a free coffee. It was free to me because Nick Lazaroff got it for me from.
Shout out Nick. I do.
Shout out Nick.
Do like Nick quite a bit.
Yeah, so we have a lot in store.
A latte in store.
A lot in store. But no, I've liked Milwaukee so far. I've never been here before. It's very cold. It's on the water, obviously. Anytime you pass by a little bit of water, I'm like reminded that we're right on the ocean front.
You were crying during a stand-up? Is that what I heard?
It was a little emotional. No, it wasn't emotional. It was so cold.
I'm just so glad to be here. It's March Madness. We've waited so long for this moment. I'm sorry. I just get a little...
Yes, that's about how it went. No, we were here on, what is today? Friday?
Friday,
We got here Wednesday night, just in time to do our show, BBN Tonight, weeknights at 7:30.
Wow, what a plug.
The official UK station. Yeah, tune in every single night. Except tonight we're on at 4:30, special time alert. But we got here just in time to do it on Wednesday night. And so it was pouring down rain. You were here. Sleet.
What a terrible,
ice, snow.
Welcome to Milwaukee.
Rain.
It was terrible.
It was
absolutely
very cold.
Terrible.
And so we're supposed to be outside somewhere because we couldn't get in the arena yet. We couldn't go live in the hotel because there was like 8 media members live in this hotel lobby. So there was nowhere else for us to go. So we had this brilliant idea that at least we'd be undercover if we went to a parking garage. And you could see you could see the arena behind us. It was a great shot. Again, shout out to Nick. But it was freezing because we were up 5 levels of a parking garage.
So not the best shout out, Nick. Like a
No,
nice
the shot
pat on the back,
good,
but not a firm handshake.
But we were miserable, personally. Professionally, it looked awesome. But yes,
Except
I did start crying. Well, the wind hit me right as it was like in my ear, like live in 3, 2, and the wind and I just lost it a little bit. And Keith made a joke about it, and it just made me laugh. And then I started crying. And so then I opened the show with, if you see tears streaming down my face, it's because I'm so happy. Which wasn't entirely truthful.
March Madness makes me happy. We got to watch some of the games together yesterday.
Yes.
A lot of chaos. Maybe not the like oh man, the number 2 seed just got upset, or nothing crazy quite yet. But we got a McNeese action, some other exciting. Rick Pitino was on the ropes a little bit, and then came back with a couple haymakers to put down Omaha. So what was your day one reaction while you were able to just kind of take a step back and relax a little bit and not worrying about the stresses of Kentucky's game?
Well, you're right. It's really nice to play on Friday because even though we didn't have a whole lot of time to watch games Thursday, I think I saw the first maybe 5 minutes of that Louisville-Creighton game. I saw the second half of the Arkansas game, and I saw nothing in between the two. So I didn't see a lot of those games happening during the day in terms of actually getting to enjoy it, how people like to just sit on the couch and watch March Madness for 8 hours. It's not really how the day goes when you're down here working.
When we're working,
But what little bit I did see earlier in the day and just trying to keep up with scores and stuff like that, it's the best. I mean, it's just the best time of the year, right? I love an upset. I was a little nervous about that Arkansas-Kansas game. Mixed emotions. But I think
what were your emotions? Because
they were mixed.
It is very good. You did say that. But being, growing up a Kentucky fan, being a student at the University of Kentucky during a lot of the core memory John Calipari moments, and just having that be a part of your life, and then watching him in enemy colors taking on Bill Self. We saw the head-to-head John Calipari Bill Self national championship. We have all of those memories. Talk me through some of those mixed emotions that we all had yesterday.
Well, I don't think it's me personally. I think a lot of people out there felt this way of it's hard to root for a coach that you loved for so long leading a team that is your rival. I mean, Arkansas is not a bitter rival in the sense that Duke or Louisville or Tennessee is, but it is a rival in the SEC. There is storied history there, especially, honestly, people a little bit older than us who watched some of those games in the 90s and maybe even before when Arkansas was really at their prime. And a lot of the hatred that develops between these two fan bases way back then. And you still see that come up from time to time, but I think, Arkansas is not this massive rival, but they are in your own conference. You do play them once, twice a year, could see them in the SEC tournament, could see them in the NCAA tournament. I have mixed emotions about the personal connections versus the reality of he is wearing red and leading a different team. And I think Rick Pitino is someone that you could also have a lot of mixed feelings about. So I don't want to say too much, but I am excited to see those two going head to head. And I don't know what the fan base's reaction will be to that, but I think BBN is leaning Pitino. What do you think?
I think pretty soundly. And it's weird because we are months removed from him being villain number one, and now he's,
yes.
He was
that Big Blue Madness.
The sweet, the college basketball sweetheart, and he's on Jimmy Fallon. It's just this guy was one of the most hated figures in sports a decade ago, and now he's God, go Ricky P, man. What can you say? It is a weird dynamic where John Calipari stole the hearts of college basketball a decade ago, when Pitino was villain, and now it just feels like everything has flipped and is created a really weird feeling going into that Saturday matchup.
Agree. No, okay. To go back to your earlier question about getting to wait and enjoy some games, that has been really nice because of how the last couple of years have gone, that I feel like there has been a lot of energy lost when Kentucky loses first game, or even that year in between when they won the first game but then lost the second game, right, to Kansas State. You still feel like you've been taken out of the best time of the year so dang early. And it's hard to enjoy the best time of the year without feeling like that should be us. We should be there. I'm too sad to watch these teams. And to an extent, I normally even feel that in the SEC tournament when you lose early. This year, not as much. The SEC was so good. I didn't feel like Kentucky would be one of those top 4 teams playing in the SEC tournament. So that wasn't necessarily a gut-wrenching, I could actually enjoy the SEC tournament. Those games were great games. But for me, it's hard to watch and get excited about the March Madness games once Kentucky loses. And I'm glad we at least got this first day of some great games yesterday. And hopefully, as you said, we get a few more days here in Milwaukee to continue doing that.
We, coming in, same KSR intern class, shout out KSR
Yes.
intern class 2016.
Yes.
We have never seen a second round as a full-time employee,
I know.
either of us.
Keith made some joke on the way down here about something that happens at the Sweet 16, and I'm like, I wouldn't know.
I don't even know what it looks like. I don't know what it feels like. I don't know, the excitement that comes with it.
Right.
It's all brand new territory.
Well, we
for me.
passed through Indianapolis on the way here. I assume you all did too.
Yes.
And we stopped in downtown Indy for lunch. And that big, what is it, the Marriott?
I kind of like blocked that city out of my
Right.
about.
Well, we
out of my
avoid
mind.
Gainbridge now.
Right, correct.
But, oh, gosh, I'm going to compare this to Taylor Swift. But remember when Taylor Swift was in Indianapolis?
Good grief.
And they put her on, I think it's the Marriott. It's like the big kind of curved blue hotel. And they put Taylor Swift huge on it. And Keith was like, yes, the Sweet 16, they'll put the bracket up huge on this building. And I was like, well, shoot, I've never covered a Sweet 16. I didn't even know that. So hopefully this is the year. We're excited. I can tell. You think we're going to, right?
I do. But it's like until I see how they play tonight,
I know.
I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. Yeah, like I got to see how they go into this game, the confidence. Like if they go out and steamroll, like then I'm like, okay, then we can really start dreaming big. But man, I just got to get tip off. Like I just got to get to tip off. I just got to get these nerves gone.
They didn't seem nervous yesterday.
I thought that as well.
Again, like I'm not. This sounds like we're just like, well, we knew last year Kentucky was going to lose to Oakland, but they were very clearly nervous last year. I thought even in the shoot around, the locker room was kind of tense, and that the day of practice, warm up, etc. I felt like there were a lot of nerves from that team last year. We don't know. We haven't been there today yet, but yesterday felt very relaxed and felt very typical of what Kentucky has acted like from an energy standpoint all year.
Let's get you out of here with, I asked Keith this, give me one key to a Kentucky victory to allow us to continue celebrating here in beautiful Milwaukee.
Today game specifically?
Yes.
Today game specifically, you have to see Lamont Butler running this offense in a way that makes you feel good, not just for the Troy game, but moving forward. You want to see him, listen, he doesn't have to score 33 points like he did against Louisville.
But if he wants
to,
I'm totally okay with that.
I think they would take it. But I want to see him have 6 assists. And I want to see him have a couple steals and have a positive assist to turnover ratio. That's what I want to see from Lamont. And if he gives you 6 or 8 or 10 points, that's a plus. You need him to score a little bit, since Jackson Robinson obviously won't be scoring for Kentucky. But for me, I want to see him running the offense in a way that makes me feel like this team is back playing together and not trying to play any sort of hero ball of, well, we don't have Jackson Robinson, or we're down by 15 to Alabama, let me take the ball and try to make a play. This team's not built to give it to one guy and try to make a play unless it's Otega Oweh against Oklahoma.
That's a good point.
Then that works. Other than that, this team is built around a specific kind of an offense that Lamont Butler runs to perfection when he's healthy, and I want to see him get back to that.
Well, it's Lamarche. Like you
Did you just say Lamarche?
It's his nickname. You haven't heard Lamarche?
No, this is breaking news to me. It makes sense though.
Lamarche Butler. That's his go-to.
All right,
like
let's do it.
You don't sign that guy who has hit a game-winning buzzer beater in the Final Four. Like this is why you drop what you're doing and fly across the country in a private jet in Las Vegas and say, I am not leaving until you are committed to me.
At midnight, knock on that door.
Yeah.
First guy we want, right?
Yeah,
and the quote that Pope said, I remember at the time, was like, he is the definition of a winner, and we have to start with a winner.
Especially like right now, like
Lamarche.
The winner in March, Lamarche. Like this, that's why we have Lamont Butler.
I feel insane that I didn't know that.
You are insane. Like
I thought you just made that up. You should have taken credit for that.
Yeah, it's my nickname for him. You know, copyright him if I want to make some T-shirts and make some money off of it. I'm happy to. But no, I think he's got that part covered. But Maggie, you have coverage of UK athletics covered to perfection. So we're very happy to have you on. You've been on a couple of times, I think, right?
I've never.
Yes, you
been
absolutely
on
have been on in very similar formats to this.
No,
I'm pretty sure you have.
This is my debut. Go back and look.
I think you're wrong.
Isn't this your podcast?
Yeah, but I swear you have. Once.
We did, when I worked for KSR, we did some post-game stuff, but I think that was before it was, he's about to drop his laptop, he's so excited.
That would have sucked.
We did I think we were calling them rapid reactions at the time, but I think we did something similar to that after some games.
We did the Max show.
Well, yeah, but I
a long time.
Did we do those post-game at Rupp sometimes? Like my senior year, 2020, before COVID? I think we did that, but I don't think I've been on Sources Say. So thanks for having me. I've been threatening to come on for years, and you finally let me. So thank you. I had a great time.
Yeah, Oh well, we hope that we can continue to have a lot of fun here in Milwaukee, and hopefully, if we can keep this momentum rolling, we could just have this turnstile of the most popular media entities here in the lobby of the Cambria Hotel. So
are we popular?
I'm not. I mean, you're
BBN
Miss
Tonight.
Miss BBN
Weeknight,
Tonight live.
7:30, LEX 18. Friday at 4:30, special time.
Anyway.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Get off my show.
You want this microphone? Thanks, Steven.
Yeah. Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate it. Do we have any other superstar? 1 minute. Gershon. All right. Yeah, let's do this thing. Any other, this was a lot of fun. It's very, very chaotic, but that's how we do it here.
One thing
Yeah.
I'll say, Kentucky fans don't get to enjoy things because we have such high standards. And I understand we don't hang banners for Sweet 16 appearances. There are programs like Nebraska. I looked this up. They're 0-8 in the NCAA tournament. Never won a game.
They've never won a game.
Never won a game. It is a big deal to get to the Sweet 16. There's so many schools. I went to Murray State. They have a great, rich history of basketball. Never made to Sweet 16. If they can win 2 games here in Milwaukee, that's a big deal. I know we don't hang banners for Sweet 16s. We don't hang banners for Elite 8s. We go around the SEC. We see all the other venues. They have NCAA tournament appearance, individual banners at Missouri because they never won a national championship in anything. I don't think they've won a national championship in anything. So I get that. But all over the SEC, there are banners for Sweet 16s, banners for Elite 8s. We don't do that at Kentucky, but let's enjoy this. If Kentucky can come out of this with 2 wins, we should celebrate. Now, we're not having a parade, but we should be happy about it. That's kind of my message to Big Blue Nation. Just try to enjoy this tournament. Expectations aren't what they're going to be the next couple seasons, because then we go right back to, I think, raising that bar back to like, hey, we need to be competing. We need to be one seed. We need to compete for Final Fours. But for this group, let's beat Troy. Let's see who they got. Illinois or Xavier. Who would you rather play?
That's a tough one. Xavier was very good. Gershon, my guy.
We're at 50 minutes.
We have this just beautiful turnstile.
Xavier.
Is that the vibe we're going with?
Yeah, Illinois, man, they're what are they? You have the Ken Palm, they're top 15 efficient offense, 3 forwards who shoot better than 35% from 3. Big Z's brother.
We got to get a storyline there. Like that.
I mean, it would be cool to get him in Orlando Antigua.
We have to get there first. We got
big if.
We got
yeah.
We got to go baby steps.
Yes.
Gershon, first off, like, where do fans recognize you from? Like,
Yeah. Catspaw's 247 Sports on the web. Catspaw's magazine biweekly during seasons, and football, basketball yearbook. But this is the best time of year, man. Let's be here for more than a day. I beg.
Yeah, I do as well. Or just takeaways from yesterday. We could talking to Troy, talking to the Kentucky locker room, and then being there at open practice. Are you more confident, less confident, indifferent? Like, how are you going into a big Friday for the Cats?
I'd say indifferent based on yesterday. I mean, it wasn't the same as last year where Oakland basically called their shot, right? There wasn't, Troy wasn't, I wouldn't say they were happy to be there type mentality, but they were confident, but it wasn't as cocky, I guess. There wasn't clear arrogance. I mean, they rightfully pointed out their continuity. I think they have 11 guys back from last year, and you go look at Ken Palm, they're like top 20 in the country in, roster continuity, or whatever the stat is on there, where Kentucky's like 355. So they pointed that out. They pointed certain things with the offensive rebounding, and that's all good, but there was no, their defense stinks, we'll be fine, or this is the perfect matchup. There was none of that. So it was kind of what it was with Troy. And then Kentucky, I mean, they're confident. They were upbeat. I like the energy, but we've seen them confident and upbeat the last couple of years. So it's kind of, I think it's, it stinks that's kind of just ingrained in us right now, the paranoia from the last couple, or I guess 2 out of 3 rounds of 64. That's not the norm around Kentucky or really for any 3 seed. There shouldn't be much paranoia. This should be exciting, build up. Let's get through one and see who we have Sunday. But with the recent history, it's hard to be that way.
I had this kind of a take after the Arkansas game that Kentucky didn't, like Pope, the players, didn't have the emotional investment in that game the way that fans did.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the, animosity came from toward from the fans. Like, hey, we cared about this.
Yeah.
You guys didn't care as much as we did. I think the concern there works, in Kentucky's favor here, where the pressure of, we can't make it 3 first-round exits in 4 years. We can't, haven't been to a second weekend since 2019. All of those very real talking points for us, and the pressure as a fan base for us. None of the guys on the team have that pressure.
No.
They are approaching this game. Mark Pope is approaching this game as a 3-14 matchup like most teams. So
that is good.
We have that concern,
Yes.
but I just don't think they have that emotional concern I think that works.
I would agree. I think that works too. It's a fresh slate for them. I mean, yes, Kentucky's the logo, but none of these guys were here last year. And honestly, some of these guys were probably watching and like, damn, good job, Oakland. Like, it was exciting. It's basketball, right? So, yeah, but for the fan base, every right to be paranoid. And then you pick apart every stat on Troy, and they're top 10 in steals, and Kentucky's had trouble turning the ball over lately. So that's all part of it. But I agree. I think they're definitely clear-headed over in the Kentucky locker room and coaching staff there.
Confidence that Lamont looked good.
Yeah.
But that was a good thing. Travis Perry, there's some speculation about his wrist and hand, and that could be limiting him this weekend. He looked pretty good in open practice. Yeah. So there is no such thing as full strength for this team.
No.
But of the guys we have, we're at full strength. So I think that the confidence going into tonight, knowing that you kind of, the group that went and steamrolled Missouri in Como, you have that same group tonight. How does that help your confidence?
I think it helps a ton. Especially, I mean, they're calling him LaMarch, and he has earned it. Like, it's not corny.
Maggie recognized that wherever she is.
Yeah.
She
sometimes that stuff's corny, but the guy's played 11 NCAA tournament games at a buzzer beater. I mean, my brother goes to FAU, so I was rooting hard for FAU, and he kind of pulled our hearts out in the Gershon family that day. But look, this is a guy who's been there, done that, and did it at San Diego State as a 5 seed. So, and the last two, take away the year they had this year, San Diego State, but they were, I think, 7 in UConn in the NCAA tournament with Lamont Butler the last 2 years. So he's only lost to UConn in this dance the last couple of years. So it's huge, and he looked pretty good yesterday. For the first time, honestly, the shots were falling in warmups. You're there every game. His shots were not falling in warmups with the shoulder brace for a while. So good to see. Maybe there's some comfort there. If he has to be in a situation to hit a 3, maybe he can knock it down. So he's the engine that makes this team go. But at the same time, you're one fall away on that shoulder from back to the paranoia and all that.
We don't need to speak that.
I know. I'm just, I am not trying to speak it into existence, but it's got to be in the back of your head as a Kentucky fan. Just stay upright. Every time he takes a hit, get up, all that. So,
does that orange ball scare you?
No, it scares Steven, though. I know that. Well, did Troy say they've been playing with it all year? Did you do some investigative work on that? Yeah. That's interesting.
Don't love that.
But you know what? I've been watching a lot of games around the country yesterday. Like, shots were falling a lot in a lot of these games, especially at Rupp Arena. It felt like every 3 that went up.
Shocker. It never fails.
Miles Kelly was doing his thing again.
Creighton
threw it in from the ocean.
Man, they hit a lot of shots, didn't they?
They hit a couple.
Yeah, that game was cool, right? We like that.
Louisville's not in the ACC anymore, so no. I hope Braden Smith is okay, though. That was scary.
Oh, all right. I've been asking all of our panelists here to give one key to a victory for the Kentucky Wildcats today. What will have us celebrating tonight and continuing this party in Milwaukee?
Protect the basketball. And it's as simple. I know it's simple and boring, but when Kentucky was really going early in the year and beating up on these non-conference teams, even Lipscomb, who's obviously here in Milwaukee, you looked at the assist to turnover ratio, they're top 5 in the country, and Troy is a very, very good turnover team. They rank 10th in the country, I believe, in steals. Tate and Connerway is 3rd in the country in steals. But you go look at Troy, they're also bottom 30 in the country in giving the ball up. So if you can create some turnovers and take care of it yourself, this should be a game you win comfortably. If you could get that, I say 9 or less. Keep it to 9 or less turnovers. I feel really good that Kentucky will come out with this game. If it gets north of that, it can get scary. And we obviously have seen Kentucky's ball protection issues with and without Lamont Butler the last month. I think I went and did the math. The last 10 games, opponents are averaging almost 8 steals per game against Kentucky. That's a number that's too high. You're going to have turnovers, but they all can't be steals. Like, if you throw a ball out of bounds once, okay, but got to limit that number. I think below 9 turnovers, you're feeling good. And even if I would say 10 or less offensive rebounds for Troy, but Kentucky has been a lot better in that area. I feel like the size, they'll be able to handle them on the boards, but the turnovers are the big thing for me. If you can limit those turnovers, I feel they should get through this game just fine.
Well, Gershon, this was a lot of fun. I'm hoping we get to continue to have a lot of fun, and we get to preview whatever the next game is. It's been too long.
I'm not even asking for Indy. Just get us to Sunday for now.
I'm asking for Indy.
I am, but one step at a time, man. Like, we've one step at a time.
Well, this was a lot of fun, man. We appreciate you coming on, and we'll start wrapping this thing up with Steven.
All right.
While we're wrapping up with Steven, never going to wrap up with our friends at SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the place to go for tickets to this very game. If I know Mark Pope is paying for gas, so really you have no excuse not to be here, not to be a part of the action. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. But March Madness is here. There's no better time, no but more important time than for you, Big Blue Nation, to be here to root on the Cats here in Milwaukee. I'm looking at some of the tickets for tonight. I mean, for the whole session too, for the night, so you get a couple of games. $165, $173, $174. You can get in, amazing deal, graded out of 10. You can see right here on the app. A lot of tickets, but we're doing a good job of filling the arena and getting some the sea of blue in there, if you will. So make sure you use our friends at SeatGeek. That's why you can use code KSR10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code KSR10. We got to get out of here, Steven. But
all my homies love SeatGeek.
All my homies love SeatGeek. Correct.
Yeah.
Are you? Any other games that kind of jumped out at you over the last 24 hours, and then any you're in particular looking forward to today?
I really, really loved how we started March Madness. That was people's. What's your highlight of day one? Easy, go Blue Jays. That was great. I was getting so sick of the Louisville, living there, growing up there. The rivalry has been dead for a little bit. It's kind of back, and Louisville fans chirping they've just been holding it in for several years. And now, Jack, they want to boycott the NCAA. They want to boycott it because they were given an 8 seed.
They were boycotting the NCAA over the last several years.
Yes, exactly.
Because
we're not going to games. We're not watching games. You already weren't doing that. And the NCAA was fine. They didn't even feel an impact. So
they're like, who is this? Who the Leisville Cardinals? Who?
Some city that
we're not used to having.
Some school that doesn't exist. They are. It's so funny because it's just all growing up. They play in the Conference USA and they win a bunch of games in that. And I think 2005, they're like, we got a 4 seed, but we won the Conference USA. And it's like, yeah, the Conference USA sucks. Okay, you made it to the ACC championship. And most mid-major conferences only get the automatic qualifier. They got 4 teams in. Clemson got killed. I still have no idea how Kentucky lost to that team. But
Josh Gad got him.
But yeah, this is
singing Frozen.
That was just such an awesome way to shut them up. There was a time when I couldn't really enjoy the tournament until they lost, because even if Kentucky was advancing, and the nightmare scenario of 2012 was do not lose this game. So it's just get them out of the tournament. I don't want to have to work, because you can't even pull for upsets, because you're if Auburn loses to Alabama State, they can go to the Sweet 16. So just good, get them out. Now I can pull for upsets in their region too, and enjoy this thing, and hopefully enjoy. I'm right back into the hating Louisville phase of my life. I'm on Twitter, just going after them. And I'm Kentucky can't lose, because they'll keep those receipts.
Give me a round. There's also something to be said about that Rick Pitino, John Calipari battle.
Yes.
We got to win tonight to just match Cal, but there is the race, there is the race of can't let Louisville go further. You can't let John Calipari go further. You have to at least match at absolute minimum.
Well, the other thing is there's going to be a stat that's going to be Kentucky hasn't. Kentucky wins this game. Let's assume they win this game. Now, there's a stat that's Kentucky hasn't made the Sweet 16 since 2019. Calipari hasn't made the Sweet 16 since 2019, so it would be really nice if Rick can beat Arkansas. And I think you talked about it. I'm pulling for Rick Pitino. Do you understand?
So weird.
It's I again hated that guy. He made Louisville good, so I hated him because I didn't want Louisville to be good, and I pulled against them in every scenario. I'm pulling for Tennessee to win games in the tournament over Louisville. So it's really weird for me that I'm pulling for Rick Pitino. I became the person that I hated from many years ago. But I want him to win that game because I want the stat to be Calipari hasn't reached a Sweet 16 since 2019. Kentucky, you can't use that. You know what I'm saying? So you can't use that same stat against us because he was the coach here for that entire streak. So big Rick Pitino fans tomorrow night. But like you said, we got to win today so that we can actually enjoy that and watch it somewhere here in Milwaukee. Where can we get some St. John's gear? nowhere near here.
Yeah.
So I'll never buy and I'll never wear it anyway. So
You can get Milwaukee Milwaukee Bucks gear, and you can get a Chris Livingston jersey. We saw
that's right.
a poster of Chris Livingston.
Kentucky basketball legend Chris Livingston, he won an NCAA tournament game. So that's more than a lot of. And a lot of college basketball players can say. Hopefully, it's more than what Troy basketball players can say at the end of tonight.
It's a good point. Very good point. Appreciate all of our sponsors for the day. Appreciate the great city of Milwaukee for hosting us, and hopefully they can continue to host us as Kentucky. Please, for all that is good in this world, just roll to a win. It doesn't have to be pretty. I don't care if it's gut-wrenching. I don't care if it's nerve-wracking. I don't care if we're biting our nails at the end. I really don't care. Just have more points on the scoreboard than Troy at the end.
If it's close, I'm walking out of that building, though, just so you know.
That's fine. But I just please, for all that is good, please just don't basketball gods, please don't do this to us. Just we need it. It's been time. We've paid our dues. The punishment has been fulfilled. Please just let us win this one. Let's just get to it. Let's be forward thinking. Let's go to the Sweet 16. Let's make a run of this. It doesn't have. We don't need to be cutting down the nets. I'd want to. That'd be just the absolute dream. But let's just have a normal March like most teams in our position. A 3 seed needs to be going to the Sweet 16. That's just the reality. Let's do it. I'm very much looking forward to it. Hopefully we can continue these little sit downs, this revolving door of media personalities. This is a lot of fun, and we'll just continue to set up shop over the next couple of days. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and keep doing this. Hopefully, whatever the media hotel is in Indianapolis, we can just kind of make a thing of this for March Madness. But for Jack Pilgrim, for Stephen Peak, we are here in Milwaukee. Hopefully, continue to stay here in Milwaukee. Source State Podcast. We'll see you next time. Go Cats.